So, totally how many roles we have to create? Any idea you have? How many
Uh,
roles?
there are many roles I will share with you. So, should I start with your concerns, whatever the concerns you are facing,
So,
or first I will share my approach? First, I
yeah,
will
you can
share
share
my
your
approach,
you
and
share your
then
approach. Yeah, then
okay.
later we can we
Yeah,
can discuss.
later we can discuss
Yeah, yeah.
on different concerns.
Yes.
Okay. So if we talk about Sivaram, about the
Hmm.
project, what was the project? So they said like we have to make this type of system where
Okay.
there is some EC2 machines act as a client,
Mm-hmm.
and from the client machine, those machines will send some data
Mm-hmm.
to the server, and the main purpose of the project to store the data in S3 bucket. At the same time, we have to store the metadata of client machine on Amazon RDS. So
Okay.
in between, the communication will be happen using Amazon SQS. We have to use AWS Lambda for the data processing, and for the data storage, we have to use Amazon S3. So all this, this is the complete architecture.
Okay.
So in my case, mm, what approach I followed,
Mm.
it is uh, like we have a different client machine where I
Okay.
have placed some script.
Mm-hmm.
That script is responsible to send JSON data.
Okay.
My aim is to store this data into
Okay.
S3, right?
Yes. Sir.
That project is saying I have
Mm.
to store this data over the S3 bucket.
Yes. Yes.
So
Yes.
first challenge here is how to send this data to S3. Like we
Mm.
have many client machine. It is not only the three. Three is just an
Mm.
example. Maybe the client machine can be thousands or 10,000s or in a lakhs, right?
Mm. Mm.
So how to send the data over the S3 bucket?
Okay.
So first, my approach is you can write the connection string on each and
Okay.
every script, like how to connect with directly with S3 from the EC2 instance, and try to send the data
Mm.
try to send that data directly to the S3. One approach
Mm-hmm.
is this, right? Another approach is uh, like in first case, you can directly send the data to the S3. Second approach is maybe you can uh, these are the client machine EC2, and first every machine can send the data. Every machine send the data again, a common EC2 machine, like thousands of machine, client machine. I can say all these here is it is the client machine C hyphen. This is
Okay.
one approach. Like first
Mm-hmm.
client machine directly send the data to S3. Second approach is client machine, client EC2 instances send the data on a common EC2 instance, right? And this EC2 instance will be responsible to send the data to the S3,
Okay.
right? This is
Mm.
another approach. Like here we have a common server where all the machine plays their data, and here is again a script kind of thing that send the data directly to the S3. So the S3 connection only be needed to configure here only one machine. right? In that case, if we have 1,000 client machines, then we don't need to make the direct direct S3 connection to each client machine. That we can avoid in that case. We have to configure only one EC2 instance which will be connected to S3, and the rest other client machine only be communicating to the EC2 server.
Okay.
Right? This is one approach. Another approach is third approach. It is like we have a client machine, client EC2 instances that send the data to the Lambda function.
Okay.
And then Lambda function will be responsible to send the data to the S3 bucket. Both three use cases are possible and feasible. Some of them have like their challenges, advantages, and disadvantages, right? In that case, the disadvantage is in future, if your S3 bucket will be changed, or maybe you have to change your EC3 account, or maybe any problem happens in future, then you have to change all your client machine that has configured with S3 connections, right? If you have like thousands client machine, and in that case, if your S3 bucket name is changed, your client has suggested, or your technical team has suggested, architects has suggested this particular name is not good, or something, or let's say just password is changed, credential is changed, because this is a regular use case. You have to change your credential regularly in 15 days or 30 days, or right? So in that case, because you are connecting to S3, then in that case, you have to change your connection on every 1,000 machine. So that is tedious task. This is the major disadvantage of first use case. So we can eliminate this, right?
Yes.
Second use case is again possible, feasible. You can directly make EC2 connection. There is simple, you can FTP your JSON data. Like you can simply like 1,000 machine connect with your EC2 server and send the data through the FTP or SFTP. Directly they can connect to each other and send the data to the common server. And this common EC2 instance have connection with S3. There is only one machine which is directly communicating with the S3. So in that case, in future, if let's say your password is changed or your credential will be changed, so there is no problem. You just need to change one EC2 instance, right? So this case is also good, but in that case, for the data processing and all other stuff, you have to because whenever you collect the data, it is not something like this is your use case, but if you go to the real case scenario, maybe you have to do something more. Maybe whatever the data that you are collecting from different client machines, so maybe that you have to process first, and then you have to store over the S3. So that processing sometimes is difficult to process. Like when you are directly processing the data on EC2 machine, then for the data processing, you have to write a shell script.
Yes. Okay.
Right? There is no other way to process other data. Right? So you have to write the shell script here. And in that case, sometimes because shell script is not like very rich programming language, it is a just kind of a scripting language. You can do you can like execute some like kernel level command. So that is good for this purpose. But in some cases, like if you need to some data analytics, or you have to do something with data processing, then in that case, shell script is not good option for you. So maybe this will be fit in our use case. What is our current project? In that case, this use case you can also consider, right?
Okay.
We can also consider this use case as well. Like you have to prepare an EC2 instance, and that EC2 instance will collect the data from all thousands machine, and that again will communicate to S3 and put the data over there.
Okay.
Right? Okay. And the third example is your all client machine directly send the data to the Lambda function, and Lambda function will responsible to send the data. This is this approach I also use, and because in Lambda it is very easy to create the Lambda function. It is again cost effective because Lambda is because if you are running a server here, then like server needs to be run every time, right?
Okay.
Like server needs to be run 24/7 into 365 into 30, right? Because each and every client machine is sending the data to this server. But in that case, Lambda function is chargeable only and only when it is called, right? So so Lambda is cost effective, as well as you can process your data very easily using Python, using Java, or using any other language. So it is easy to process because you are using high level languages. It is cost effective because in future, if you are doing something like if you are optimizing your cost for your projects, then it will be helpful. So I also use this approach that we will discuss today. Okay. Is it clear, Sivaram?
It's clear.
Okay, so first we will discuss how I have implemented this particular workflow. This is the first workflow, and then again when I process put the data to S3, then again another workflow will be started. So first we will discuss the first workflow. Okay. Okay. So so because here first case is as we said, like every client machine sent to data to S3, right? We have to store the data which is coming from each and every client machine to S3. So first part is how to send the data. Okay. How to send the data from each and every client machine to S3. So how to prepare the data, what will be the script that will be responsible to send the data. Okay. So I am showing are you using your own account or lab account?
I'll use one account. Lab account, there's some problem.
Here, do not. I'm suggesting do not use lab account because they regularly wipe off their data.
Yeah,
like
again,
yeah. So whatever you build in your lab account, it will be wipe off like within 24 hours or 36 hours. So please do not use that account. You can simply create your own account. It is free of cost for 1 year, so that you can use. That is also better, and you can persist your whatever the model, whatever the data you have in servers you will be created. It will be there for all time. Okay. So first, as a first part of our project, we have to create some client machines, right?
Yes.
Yeah. So in my case, I have created 3 client machine. Client this. These are the simple EC2 instance, nothing else. This is the client 1. This is client 2, and this is client 3. Okay. So I can also start. No problem.
So here in client 1, client 2, client 3, have you given any roles like?
No need to give any role here. Yeah,
Okay.
I will show you. You don't need to create any role here. First, I have created this client machine, and this is simple as usual. It is similar to the way that I have created. It is similar, simple EC2 instance that we regularly like create. Okay, it is just a simple EC2 machine, nothing else. And this on this machine, I have just put my script over there
Okay.
to send the data. So first,
Okay.
I will explain what is the script. First, I will connect. Try to connect.
So for the script, you're using shell script or Python?
Shell script. Here
Shell script.
for EC2 instance, I use shell script.
And cron job you're not using, right? Cron job?
No, I used cron job.
Okay.
The problem.
The public. The problem. Can I not? SH minus I.
Okay, I'm closing this and opening another.
Giving the permission of the PEM file. Permission
No,
of the
I
PEM.
don't think so. Permission is already being there.
Yeah, sometimes it won't.
Yeah, sometimes. Because sometimes if you just create your EC2 instance, sometimes it gives like a root account. Try to connect with root. So now what is the problem? It is connected, yes.
Yeah, connected is connected.
Yeah, connected. So it is just a simple EC2 machine that I have created as a client. And here I have created a folder like mid project.
Okay.
So it is a simple folder that I have created, a directory. And here, if you see, I have placed my script file data.sh.
Okay.
If we look at the file data.sh, this is my script file. Okay. So I will explain it you on a notepad so that you will be better understand about it.
Is there in JSON, right? Client ID.
Yeah, you have to. First thing is that you have to send the data in JSON format. JSON format is nothing; it's just a key value pair.
Okay.
So you have to send your data in the key value format.
Okay.
Right? So this is the simple JSON file. So in this script file, first what I tried, whatever the parameter I need to send to the server, that I calculate here. So like how to get the host name. So simply $host name. If you will do simple $host name, you will get the current host name. Okay. Client ID I just hard coded here because it is a ID of any client, right? Client means you can say my company, right? My company, like ABC Limited or XYZ, whatever. So I just given a name here. I have simple given an ID like 1001. It is a client ID. It can be anything. And every client have multiple servers, like, right? Let's suppose you are working in a company. It is again like presently, of course, you are working in a company, right? And do you have servers purchased from somewhere?
Yeah, it's there, purchased. Yeah.
Okay. So let's suppose my company purchased 10 servers from GoDaddy, right? So you can simply understand what the project we are building here. It is simply for GoDaddy. GoDaddy just want to track the data from their client,
Mm.
right? So, right. So let's suppose GoDaddy have 10 clients, and every client have their multiple servers,
Yes.
right? Like my company ABC Limited purchased 10 server from GoDaddy. XYZ Limited purchased 100 server from GoDaddy. So this is the project. Each and every client machine have their multiple servers, and these servers will send the data to GoDaddy server, where we are storing the data, what is the free space, what is the disk usage, CPU usage, and everything. So first I will try to figure out what data we need to send the server. Every data we have calculated.
Okay.
So how to get the host name, how to get the free memory, how to get the disk, how to get the CPU utilization, how to get the CPU number, processor number, you can say, and what is the vendor, what is the operating system on that Linux, that server. So that data I first I try to figure out. Once the data is figured out, we just converted this data to the JSON. So first forget about this and forget about this. Okay, first forget about this. So if I copy this, sorry. Just do forget this and look at what data we need to send. If you like go to the documentation from the Eureka, this is the documentation. You can find here what data we need to send. I think something is given there. This one. You have to send the data to the server from the client machine in this format, right?
Oh, system info unique ID. Okay.
Yeah. If I copy here this data, this sample data you need to send to the server. Okay.
So if say one
So
client
if
has
you see, yes, Sivaram.
no, yeah. So if one client has 10 servers, then this information has to be sent to all the 10 servers or
I will explain you. Just give me
okay.
10. First,
Okay.
I'm explaining this, and after that you will already get your answer.
Okay. Okay.
Okay. Yeah. So yes. So now, Sivaram, you can see here, the format is what format I'm sending to the server in the JSON format that I'm using in my script. It is just similar to the data that has given in the document.
Okay. Okay.
First, you see like system info is there. Then I am sending unique ID. Unique ID means client ID. It can be anything. It can be anything, any value, right?
Okay.
Yeah. And then you have to send the host. In case of host value, it is not given here. I don't know. Okay, might be. So I am sending the host as well. Free memory, like so. Here it is given the hard-coded here it is given the hard coded value, but in
Mhm.
your case you have to send the actual value of server. Like if
Okay.
we take the example of operating system, so let's suppose we have a 10 servers. So maybe operating system on different server is different, right?
Yes.
In
Yes.
some of the server we have a Linux 4.14, but in some cases we can have like Ubuntu, or in some cases we have Red Hat. So
Yeah.
you need to get that information dynamically from the script. So that's why if I go to my script again, where is
Data.sh. Data.sh.
yeah data, yeah, this one. If you go here, so that's why first I try to figure out all this information that will be in respect of current server.
Okay.
Okay, so in what server you put this script, it will get the information from that server. It is dynamic. You just need to copy this particular script on every server, and you don't need to do anything else.
Okay.
Got it? Got my point?
Yes. Yes.
So here, I try to figure out all my parameters, what I need to send to the server. Then I prepared that data in the format, in what format I need to send to the server in JSON format. Okay. So the way to share the data in JSON format is like first you have to calculate the dynamic value, and that dynamic value you can write in this way in your file.
Okay.
So once the data, like once your script will be executing, it will calculate client ID first and place the value here.
Okay.
So what exactly the value that it will be figured out will be placed here and sent to the server. Okay. So first you have to prepare the data by this way. Is it clear?
Yeah, clear.
Okay. So first you have to prepare the data. Then then my data is prepared now. Is it okay? Now second part is how to send it to the server. The second challenge is, first challenge was how to prepare the data. What is the data? How to prepare it? In what format I need to prepare? And the next challenge is how to share it with the server. How to send it over the server. So for sending it to the server, I have created a data collector service which is written in Lambda function using Python. So once you can write an API, and through curl command, using curl command, curl is nothing. It is a command to call any REST API. It is called a REST API. API is something like a method to communicate between two services, right? So you can call, or you can use your API using curl command, and this is my API, because here I am putting something over the server. So that's why I have created this API as a post.
Okay.
Post is the method. There are different type of APIs that we can create. It is if like in some cases, if we want something from server, then it is a get type. It is get type. Like I have an ID, employee ID, and I want a complete employee detail from server, and I need to create a API for that. Then in that case, because I'm just asking to server, this is employee ID, and for this employee ID, get me the complete data. So in that case, the API method will be get. But in case if we are putting something to the server, we are submitting to the server, like this is my data, please store it at your end or please process it. So in what case, what we are doing, I'm giving the data to the server, right? So in that case, you need to create it as a post type. Content type means what type of content we are sending to the server. So it is a kind of application and JSON type.
Okay.
So there are two parameters, two attributes we are passing in the curl command. First is what type of my API is, because because I am sending some data to the server, so it is post. That's why it is post. And what type of data I am sending to the server? It is a JSON format. So that's why I'm set the content type as application JSON.
Okay.
And then you curl, then post, then content type, then what is your data that you can write here, and then this data where to send. So this is my API where I need to send that data.
Okay.
Yeah, the clear is it okay?
Clear.
Okay. Up, let's move on. I think I believe this part will be okay to both of you.
Yeah, clear.
So now where I am sending the data, now I am moving to that API. So I have created default collector service. So now I am moving to my account, and let's see what I have created in my account.
First, we are preparing the data. The second is we are sending the.
Yes, first I am preparing the data, then converting it to the format desired for JSON format. Once it is converted, then sending that data to a particular API.
Okay.
Okay. So here I simply go to the Lambda function. Here I have created two Lambda functions. First one is related to this API. This one. You can see the name. Its name is data collector service.
Okay. Data collector.
Right.
Okay.
Yeah. So you can clearly see the name. It is a data collector service.
Data collector.
Yeah. So you can simply go to the create function, and you can simply create the function. Do you have an idea? If not, then tell me, I can just quickly explain to you.
Lambda function, right? Yes, I know. Yeah.
Okay. Just I'm.
So, yeah. Are
Is it
you
okay?
doing it in a template or from scratch?
No, I'm not doing any template. I'm not doing any template. You can simply create Lambda.
Okay.
Go
Author
to
from
the
scratch.
scratch. Yes. From like to put your name, whatever the name you want. Here I have given like my data collector service. Choose your language, in what language you need to write your Lambda function, and then just save. It will be created a blank Lambda function for you. Okay. Okay. So by this way, I have created these two Lambda functions. Both are based on Python 3.8. Now I'm moving to the Lambda function. So first, forget about this one. This is my Lambda function data collector service. Once you create your Lambda function, you will come on this page, and here you can see I have written some code. Right? This is very simple code. If you see like this is a like number of lines, and maybe
some 40 or 50 lines.
Yeah, it looks complex, but it is not. It is very simple. I will explain you. Just forget about this. Just forget about this part. Okay. First, first see these 4 lines. And here, this is my script in which I have explained you. I have written this service as a post because I
Okay.
need to post something to the server, right?
Yes, correct.
So because this script is posting something to the server, so to make a Lambda function, to make a post type API. So because this script is posting something to this API, so how to get these values? Simply HTTP method, and just forget about this. Yeah, just forget about this one, this line. This is not in use because I used it for some purpose, and this is not in use. Okay, this can be discarded. So in Lambda function, there are two attributes, event and context. So whatever you are sending to that API, it comes under the event. If we go like I am submitting this data. I am submitting this data to this API, right? Is it
Yes,
okay?
correct. Yeah.
Sivaram, just give me 1 minute.
Yeah, fine. Okay, I'll begin.
So because I am sending this data to this API, so I'm sending this data to this API, but how this API get this data, right? This is again a challenge. So in Python, you can simply JSON.load event.body. I can show you, just give me 1 more minute. So Sivaram, you can see every time whenever a Lambda function is called, so I am putting the logs in a log file in a CloudWatch, and here whatever is coming from the script that I am printing. Okay, so here you can see body. So if we go again to my Lambda function, here you can see I am printing the body. What is my body? My body is data. And what is the data? Data is nothing. Event is this one is the event object, and event dot body. Event is kind of an array, and here there is an attribute body. Whenever you get the body value from the event, it will get the data. And what is the data? Data is whatever is coming from the script.
Okay.
Any question here? Because it is something tricky. If you have some confusion, you can ask.
No questions.
So how you would get the data from the script? Like JSON.load. Few things you just need to remember. First, for this JSON, you have to import the JSON, right? And once it gets imported, you will call JSON.loads event.body. It will get the data. It will get the data which is coming from your JSON file, your script. your script, and from your script you are getting the data. Once you will get the data, what is my data? I am printing the data by the name body. And if you go to the my logs, you can clearly see my body arrow, body dot dot arrow I have printed simply here, body arrow. This is printed as it is. And after that, my exact data, which is coming from the script, I am printing here.
Okay.
Okay. So here you can see this is my data, and the same data I am sending from my script file. Okay. So, now I am getting the data from the script on the server. I am successfully get the data here. Okay. Now my target is to put the data to S3, right?
Okay.
What is my first? This part was I have written the script which is calling the post API of Lambda function, and this Lambda function, once the API send the data to the Lambda function get the data. How to get the data? By this way you can get the data from the server. So this is the complete format. And now in S3, if you go to my, now I need to send, because the data now I'm got from a script on the Lambda function. Now my next aim is to save this data on S3 bucket. That I need to do now. Okay, here I have created a client data bucket, and you can see every time I'm calling the script, it is saving the data in this format. In this format, I'm saving like data hyphen the name of my data file. It is just my choice. You can do with your choice, but it is my choice what will be the name of my data file. So I have just choose the name as like data. Then you can see it is a client ID that I have written in script. This one 1001. If data is coming from 1002 or ABC Limited, then my name will be ABC Limited or something. And then, so because why I chose this name, because it will be, once you see the name, it clearly tell you from where the data is coming from. Like it is coming from my client 1 machine. It is coming from client 1, and which has the host IP is this. You can see this is my client ID, and this is my host ID complete. Okay. So I have created my S3 bucket. File name is simple, like data is appended to everyone. My client ID. And then my host ID. So if you see your file name, it is without seeing the data inside, you can clearly see that this is my data coming from this client machine, and from this particular client from this machine. If like particular client have thousands of machine, you can just simply see the name, and you can easily know get to know like from which machine you got this data, right? So that's why I have chosen this name. Okay. And in this particular file, I just save whatever the data coming from this complete JSON format. I just saved in this file. if you go, if I go there and try to see the data, I need to give the access. So once I make it public, it gets downloaded. So you can simply see it is my data file that I have downloaded. And if I open this file, so you can simply see here the same data, whatever is coming from the client script, I have saved here.
Okay.
Right? So it is the same data that I am getting from the client that I have saved. Yes. So nothing specific or something. So same data I have saved here. So this is the first part. So to make the name, I have just, because if you see in the data and like how to set the file name when you are setting it to the in server. So here you can see I have first from the system info and then unique ID. Whatever the data coming from the server, first I have extracted as a first I extracted the client ID, then host ID. So both two parameters I have extracted. Then this is my bucket name where I need to save the data. Okay. And then I make the file name. What will be my file name? So let's suppose I have added data hyphen, then what is my client ID that I have figure out here. Whatever is coming from script that I am passing, then my host ID, then current time. Current time I again added in the file name because 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 on the same day, same time, like same time frame within an hour or same day, you can get the data like client ID will be the same, host ID will be the same, like every 5 minutes my same machine will send the data, right? So how do you figure out like this is what is the object? So you have to do something different with each file name, right? So that's why I have added the timestamp. Timestamp is here added is like my current date and time along with my file name, so that once I see the file name, it is clearly tell me that at what date this data came to us. So you can see that it's a 15/03/2021, 12 hours and 3 minutes. I got this data file. Okay. So I have created by this way file name. Now you have to upload this data file. So this is just a file name. So how do you save your data file? By this way, upload byte stream and
For saving
you
the
can
data,
use,
they're given one format, right? For saving the data.
yes, format is given.
Yeah.
And whatever in the same format, in the same format, whatever the format is coming from the script, same format I'm saving in the file. But you also, because you can, that format you are saving in the file, but what could be the file name? Because the format in the file is this.
Okay. Yeah, something.
Got it? What I want to say, I'm saving the same data inside the file, but what could be the file name? So that's why I have created this file name here. In my Python program, I have created the file name. And then once my file name is created, I have, by this way, you can dump your data to the S3 bucket by json.dump import UTF-8. And because this is to putting the data in S3, you have to make in the byte stream object. So first, maybe you need to remember something. Maybe this line for initial understanding you can remember, like how to set the format. It is in UTF-8 format, and then this is the code which is responsible to save your file in particular bucket. So you can see s3.put bucket, put object, where we are passing bucket equal to bucket. And what is the bucket? This is my bucket. Okay. Key is my file name. Actually, this is the format you have to remember. Like using this format, you can save your file to S3, and here you need to pass these many parameters, like what is the bucket name, what is the file name that you are saving, what is the data that you are saving in that file. This is the file name. Key means file name. And what is the data inside the file? It is uploaded byte stream. And how I get uploaded byte stream? Here I have calculated by this way.
Okay, JSON dumps data.
Yeah, and here I need to passing the data. What is the data? What is the data? This data. This data I have calculated here. JSON.load body. It is the actual data that we are getting from the script.
Okay.
So this is the data. If you want to set any additional metadata, you can set by this way.
This metadata is optional, right?
This is, yeah, metadata is optional. If you want to set, you can. Otherwise, there is no compulsion for that. Okay, and my put is completed. So by this way, it is just a very simple API that I have written. So here I'm how you can make the connection with your S3 by Lambda. So you can use Boto3. So first you have to import Boto3, then Boto3.client S3. Boto3 is the library that provide the connectivity between AWS services using Python. So Boto3.client, if you want to connect with SNS or SQS, you can just pass SNS or SQS here, and it will be provide the connection to you. Okay, so this is simple API. So is it okay? Now it is clear to you. Maybe if you want, I will share the script file.
Yes, you can.
Is Python script as well, so that you will get understanding about it.
Yes.
Okay. I think I can take more 5 minutes because and the rest of the class can we have tomorrow as well, so that you will
tomorrow same time 8 o'clock.
Same time, yes.
Okay.
Is it okay?
Yeah, fine, no problem.
Yeah. So and now we can, because project is little
Yeah.
Not very big, but initially if you go to like it has many things to understand, right?
Correct.
So now my lambda function is created, but once
Okay.
you create the lambda function, you cannot directly call it, because you cannot directly call it from any other machine or any other places, right? So so as a source, you have to expose your lambda function as an API gateway to make
Okay.
it as a service, because lambda is nothing. Lambda is just kind of a function that, yeah, lambda is a just kind of function that is that is built to process something. And if you want to
Okay.
make it as a service, you have to make it as connect it as API gateway.
Okay.
So if I click on it, so you can see my this API gateway is connected as a data collector service API.
Service API. Okay.
Here is nothing. If you go like, have you created your lambda function and connected as a API gateway,
No,
right?
no, I'm not done.
Okay, okay, you have not done. So maybe initially you face some problem.
Yes.
Just give me 1 minute. Just lambda.
So this API gateway you're creating so that it will be accessible, right? The
Yeah.
lambda function will be accessible.
Yeah, API gateway mapped as a with lambda function, mapped with the lambda function to expose your lambda function as a service.
Service. Okay.
Until unless you will not connect your lambda function as a service, you cannot call it from as any like shell script or as a curl command.
Okay.
Once you so just see here, I have created a lambda function. Presently it is blank, it does nothing. So until unless I'm not creating it as a service, so we cannot call it from other places. Like we cannot call it from a script, we cannot call it from the browser. So it cannot do anything for me. So to call it as a service, to make it as a service, you need to trigger it as an API
gateway.
API gateway. So if you create it, connect it as an API gateway, or create my API is already been created, so nothing to do that. Just add API. You choose it as a REST API. If you want to, I have make it at open. If you want to like any key, because presently it is open, I'm directly able to call my API from the lambda function. If you have associated any kind of security like IAM or API key, then let's suppose I have associated it with API key, then in that case I need to pass the security information when I am calling my API. Otherwise you cannot call it and it will give you access denied. Okay, so that's why presently, because for the demo purpose, I made it as open so that we can easily call it.
Yeah. So for the project also, we can set it as open, or we need to add some IAM for the project?
No, there are many rows. It is just for the lambda function.
Lambda function.
Yeah, it is just for lambda function. So now you can see this API is created.
Okay.
Now, so by this way you can this is the latest lambda function that I have created. It is linked with API gateway. Now you can call it directly from your browser or somewhere. So
Okay.
if I go to from the URL.
Hmm. Okay.
Something. Yes. So here you will get the API. Once you create, once you trigger the API gateway from the Lambda, you will get this type of URL. You can check. So here simply I have created a Lambda function and directly call it from the browser. You can see. I just copy this copy link address, go to the browser and call it. So you can see this response is coming from my Lambda function. Are you getting?
Yes, getting it.
So here I have printed like hello from Lambda. So it is the same response that you are getting here. So that was the purpose of creating the API gateway. Let's suppose I just remove the API gateway here. Let's see what happened in that case. I am removing the API gateway from
One more doubt. So this API gateway, so can it be accessed outside
yes,
outside
yes,
the
yes,
VPC? VPC.
yes, 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 anywhere, not only the VPC, you can call it from the internet. Just give you an
Okay.
example. Now I have deleted my API gateway. Okay. Now let's see, it is the same URL. Now I'm trying to call. What will happen? It is giving me the internal server error now. I'm not able to call my Lambda function. Once I create the API gateway, just try to connect it again. I go to the Lambda function, go to the add trigger, connect it to the API gateway, choose create an API, choose REST API, make it open.
Open, okay.
Just add. These are just simple steps that you have to follow, and it will give you the simple URL. You can like copy link address. I think this is the same. This would be the same. Now, once you this every time like we create, we added the API gateway, the URL will be different. Because it is changing something in the URL, so maybe that's why you need to use whatever the updated URL that you have to use every time.
Okay.
So now I'm passing this URL here. Now let's see. The response is coming from the Lambda function. Now you can also try at your end because you are not using any. I'm putting this URL on the chat box. Just try to use it.
You sent it.
There is, I don't know why. Yeah, I sent it to you. You got it?
Yeah, now I got it.
Now try to open this URL. I hope it will also working at your end.
Working.
Working, na?
Yes.
So this is, yeah, actually this is the beauty of this API. You can call it from anywhere. No need to create the role. No need to do something else.
Okay, but project we have to create roles, no?
Sorry.
No, in the project we have to create roles, right?
Yeah, because in the case of API, you are not interacting with the services. It is
Correct.
just an API call. You are calling it from anywhere, and you can get the data. But whenever you need to talk among different services or the AWS, then you need to create the roles.
Okay.
Right.
Okay.
So let's suppose when your S3 bucket need to talk to Lambda, or your Lambda need to talk to SNS or SQS, then you need to create the role. So this is
Okay.
the first part that we have yeah, covered today. Maybe tomorrow we can have again a call. We can arrange, and let's see rest of the part.
This is so. Yeah.
Okay. And meanwhile,
It was a great session.
Okay, I hope this can help you guys.
Yes. Just okay, like if you send the scripts also, maybe tomorrow
I will send you the script. I will send you the Lambda functions that I have created, and you can also try to create this at your end. First, you can try to create EC2 instances as a client machine. Put this script file on the newly created client machine and try to run it. Right. First, it will be failed. First, it will if you will keep the same URL, then your client machine will send the data to my machine, my server, because it is open.
Correct.
You got it. So if you create your own EC2 instance and just call this script, then your script will send the data to my project.
Yes.
Yeah. So for this purpose, you need to create this service. Maybe you can try to create this service. If you will face any challenge, we can discuss it tomorrow again. Maybe I don't have any problem to go for 2 or 3 sessions. So that's not the problem, but you guys should understand what exactly we have to do. Because what purpose here, why we are here, everyone. So you must understand the basics, because these are important. And what I'm seeing in terms of, I don't know about the PK, and what I'm seeing the lag in Azure, but they are just following the PPT. They must go by this way. Each and every step they create, they explain, and they also give you the chance to do. And after that, like there is some query session you can discuss, but something is missing from their side.
Yes. Yeah, PK is doing something.
Yeah, PK is best, better. Yeah, all other tutors. PK is much better than. Okay, Sivaram. So I'm closing the call today. I will send this script. Yeah. Okay. So you can try that.
Recordings also you just send it. I mean,
yes.
to the code.
Yeah, directly. I will send this script and other Python script as well directly on the group along with the recording. Okay.
So thank you, Parveenji, for having this wonderful session. Thank you very much.
Thank you. अपना नाम तो बता दो यार.
Mukesh.
Mukesh.
No.
Actually, your name was not.
This is my company's name. This is my company's name because this is the company's license, so that's why it is showing there.
Okay, Mukesh.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
We'll meet tomorrow, 8 o'clock. Okay?
Yeah, we will meet tomorrow. Okay.
Bye.
Bye. Stay safe.
Bye.